what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Hope you're doing well today on this fine Saturday, February 24th. We are officially in the full moon, and I knew I was about to say it wrong even before it came off my tongue. The full moon in Virgo. It started around 7:30 a.m. this morning Eastern time, so we're definitely in a strong aspect of it at this point. So I hope you are governing yourselves accordingly, doing all of your appropriate spiritual practices and hygiene, and just resting. Hell, if nothing else, if you don't do another thing, just finding some time to take a rest, to breathe, to think, to reflect, to be rejuvenated, regenerated, whatever it is. Now, and more or less for the next three days, give or take, certainly give or take, because it's most potent now, but up to about 3 days is when you're still in that range of potency waning off, of course, day by day. And then, of course, up until we're in the new moon, which at that point in time, oh no, I think I was about to say, I think we'll be officially in spring season, but I don't think so, because spring will be, or maybe, I don't think so. It seems kind of tight. This is definitely the last full moon of the winter, but the equinox is not until I think the 19th at the earliest, maybe the 21st, if I'm correct, somewhere around there. So either way, take this energy seriously, to allow yourself to really release the weight of the winter as much as you possibly can. Of course, we still have some yet to go, although according to Puxatony Phil, it's supposed to be an early spring. And from the forecast that I'm seeing, at least here on the East Coast, it does look like things are going to start warming up a little bit after this weekend. We're looking at some milder temperatures. So here's hoping that we're going to be transitioning into that more fertile and fun season sooner than it actually arrives. But either way, now is the time for you to release some things that may have been weighing you down through the winter months, or even through the past year or so, because last year was definitely no joke, and a lot of that weight and baggage could have carried on into the top of this year because of how the transits were in place, and maybe you haven't quite had the energy to shake it all off, but now is the invitation to do so. So even if that's in a quick meditation, a prayer, a rest, a journaling, a something, allow yourself to release some energy in a way that you can spiritually and physically feel the difference, the lightness of that activity. All right, so without further ado, let's see what my tea bag says. Love is the unlimited law of life. Well, that's just beautiful. Cheers to that, okay? Cheers to that. Love it. High Priestess on the board. We love to see it. The High Priestess is dedication to your supreme self, to divine alignment. And I always like to stress when I have the opportunity to, that it's not about religion, although, the aesthetic of the card projects a certain ideal, right? The divine mother or a nun, or someone quite conservative and in covenant with us, an external force or source, or however you get to see it. It's quite religiously ornate in itself. I mean, literally, that she's holding the Torah and there's a cross on her chest, you know? So it's like, you can't really get around it. But it's certainly not limited by that scope, because we don't all subscribe or ascribe to one particular religion or organized affiliation of spirituality. So with that being said, it's about maintaining the highest frequency of integrity with self first and foremost, like really doing what you feel guided to do, what you feel ordained to do, designed to do, even divine to do. So it could range from that devotion and creativity, or even in practical matters of life, you know, going to work every day and showing up on time, or, you know, certainly. So I'm not judging anyone, as in my last job, that was the struggle. However, when you do show up, you are working in excellence and treating others the way that you want to be treated, and operating in the spirit of kindness and grace and gratitude for others, whether you know them or not, you know, and also the commitment to self. Actually, as a matter of fact, this isn't a Virgo card, but certainly can speak to the energy of the Virgo full moon when you consider your routines, your habits, your rituals is actually a loaded word, like particularly in the way of your own personal self-care. So someone that reveres themselves in a certain frequency, such as the high priestess, that just really has a high self-esteem, a high reverence for their spiritual and physical being, does participate in a lifestyle, or does have, you know, a lifestyle that would reflect that would be your spiritual hygiene, that would be the practices that help keep you grounded and focused, and that help you to maintain those frequencies that make a high priestess, that raise your vibration above the fray of the societal norm, which we all know more or less is pretty low, at least right now. So yeah, there's so much I could say about the high priestess. I feel like, I don't know, I felt like I had so much to say just now. It's almost like I never had the opportunity to talk about her first out before, but it feels important to give her a certain due of respect while I have the opportunity to. This is sacred self, and being okay, feeling justified, and assuming the authority to revere self as sacred, you know, to really see self as supreme, even if self as you see in the mirror doesn't always operate in that function. That's where the aspiration, the inspiration, the integrity to aspire to more, or to that ideal, fills that gap, you know? So, yeah. All right, let me take another sip, because this tea is good today. Know how it is, like, you could have the same regimen every day and it comes out completely different, no matter what. All right, let's see what else we got here. What is the high priestess? And you know, here I go. The high priestess also speaks to, like, secrets behind the veil, or things that are unknown. So the fact that she's being revealed here first out the gate, there's some curiosity as to why, what's being uncovered, what secrets are being unveiled at the lowest vibration, what skeletons are falling out the closet, perhaps, you know. And I think this moon is kind of like in alignment with that, about just like really being real with yourself and not, and accepting all the whole of you, like not being dark and light, right? Not being afraid of those aspects of yourself that may be less conventional, less societally acceptable, or palatable to some degree, but just really, if nothing else, you being accepting of the totality of you. And therefore, when you don't really have much to hide because you feel no guilt or shame or remorse or, resistance or reluctance for your identity, it doesn't really matter what people know or what they think they know or what they don't, because you have a settlement with who you are. And particularly if that is also measured by your acceptance in divine sight, meaning whatever that supreme source is that you ascribe to, whether it be the highest self and or beyond, then who the hell cares what anybody else thinks or feels? Seriously. That's the illusion. Nobody else, everybody has something that they wouldn't necessarily, shout to the rooftops if given the choice to or not. But, well, there we go. There's the Three of Swords. But who really cares whether or not the best or worst of you is revealed, in the grand scheme of things, if no one has a place to truly judge you for it? I mean, that you can have an opinion, but in terms of judgment, that even if it was of legal, of a legal imposition, it still would be skewed in the scale of supreme source, meaning I could be a mass murderer. But if I've, atoned for my sins in the most supreme and sacred way, sure, I may have to do my time in the court of law and in the land of man, but spiritually speaking, I'm absolved. I'm free to still aspire to live a certain life, I'm still free to have an expectation to have a certain fulfillment of life, as long as I've taken the proper steps to repent and release that energy unto the source that I feel devout to and that I feel I need to answer to, And if that looks like self, then it's still a matter of what steps do you take to change the mindset and the heart of the man or the woman that would operate in that fashion to cause harm to one or another, or even to self. 9 times out of 10, it's first a personal affliction, and again, you may have to do your time or atone for it in a physical sense. But if you are the supreme that you answer to, then it still is a responsibility to redeem your lower self to the highest by looking to fill that gap and that void in between. Like, why am I a mass murderer? Like, why do I want to harm people? Where does that come from? What in me is disconnected or distorted to feel that is, my course of action? Like, where's the heartbreak? Where's the trauma? Where's the fear? Where is the toxicity? Where is it? And how can I eliminate my being of it so that I can be free to aspire to who I would absolutely want to be? And that's those that have, of course, the mind, a sane mind to make choices in that regard. Not everybody, unfortunately, does, or not everybody is free of the attachments or aware of the attachments that would cause certain inflictions. And some people are happy to be possessed by them, you know? So it's different for everyone. Some people love the toxicity, the trauma. They love how it feels. They love to project it. And there's really nothing you can do with the power of choice being a thing. But for those that, and you know, of course, I'm using probably one of the most offensive concepts there is, to literally cut someone else's life short, let alone, of course, abuse and assault and things of that nature, where you are greatly impacting someone's living life. But to take the living of someone else into your own hands, that's probably one of the greatest offenses there could be, spiritually or otherwise. So that's why I'm being so dramatic in that example, to say that if it could be the worst and still be the best, then there's still hope somewhere in between there, no matter what it is, you know, no matter what the offense. So if you can go to the worst of it all, then certainly there's hope for anything. All right. Yep, exactly. There is a point of turnaround. All right, but I'm getting some different energy with this Three of Cups. Let me see what's on the other side, because it feels like some people were celebrating the either in anticipation of heartbreak, or like this is also the energy of some people just loving to be in their trauma, like loving to be toxic, loving to be diabolical, wanting to be the antithesis of the supreme self, you know, wanting to be supreme in their sacrilegion. That's what I'm hearing. It's like the lower octave of the high priestess, and feeling quite, you know, content in that frequency. Not on the love is the ultimate law of life vibes. Looking to be contrary to that concept. Hence the heartbreak Three of Swords card. But let me see. Oh, Judgment. And here's the Judgment on that ass. Cutting that party short, so it seems. It's like, oh, surprise, special guest. Gabriel just stepped in the party and said, party's over. And it's like, if you don't have a higher self to answer to, because that's what this energy is giving, like you being called by a higher power, a higher force to ascend to another level. But if you haven't cultivated the capacity for that identity, you have no call to answer to. That's the energy of being left behind, and the toxicity that, that's deep, that you insisted to wallow in and recreate in some ways. I'm trying to see, is this straight? It's hard for me to ever really tell because of how the cards are bent at the top. All right, so Judgment call. There's been a decision made. Something has been brought to a culmination, finality, an end, some turnover of events. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see what's on the other side of it. I feel called to see what's before that Three of Swords, even though it's kind of like, what more you need to know? It's trauma, girl. It's drama. But let me just see what comes before the Three of Swords, and then I want one more on the Judgment. All right, I'm not taking that but here's a message about, or a message to someone. Yeah, this was the invitation to ascend, to come out of this wounded warrior energy, like come higher. I have a party invitation for you, but somebody want to go to this exclusive gathering here. They thought this invitation was too small, too meaningless, not important enough. You know, that's the energy it's giving me. They wanted to be a part of a more exclusive who's who type of festivity. Yeah. And were putting themselves in tough positions to get that invitation, or to secure those invitations. I just want one card though, but that's interesting. One card before the heart, the Three of Swords. That would lead to heartbreak for sure though. When you're trying to be a part of the wrong party. Exactly, with the King of Swords. So emotionally detached, and it's given like resistant to the truth of themselves. With the two cards that I just put back, wanting to be in some other circles that are considered supreme or important, or, you know, whatever. That you would forfeit the honor of just truly just being yourself, and almost like sabotage yourself in a sense to be a part of some exclusive association. Because this is like his true self all the way over here, disconnected from the party. But in between that, it's like he was breaking his own heart just to be a part, like really almost sacrificing his own heart, his love, his soul. Again, not love is the ultimate law of life. Pardon me. This one sees more of the value in who you know, and perhaps maybe what you have. With that Page of Pentacles, almost revering it as like, oh, that's too small, that's not enough. And then the Nine of Wands, or is it the Eight of Wands? I think it's the nine. Not seeing yourself as whole and complete. A little in that card, there's some mental imbalance, maybe some energetic imbalance on account of just not being present with who you are. Wanting to be someone else, perhaps. The smartest guy in the room, the King of Swords. Wanting to have a certain level of access and willing to sacrifice, I would say, your well-being to have that. You don't get to supreme self. Yeah, look at this. Knight of Swords. And I almost want to put this over there, but I'll put it over here because I asked for 1 and 1. Somebody feels entitled or is aggressive toward now. Yeah, look, it's coming from both sides. Like, this was a sacrifice of self that was made to be a part of this underworld of sorts, the antithesis of high vibration with the Three of Cups, debauchery, let the good times roll, everybody's partying and bullshitting pretty much. And now it's like that judgment's been called, like I said, and you see in certain people, it's like when the lights turn on in the party, it's like you really see what everybody truly look, or in the club more or less than the party per se, because you know that feeling, when y'all been dancing all night and sweating and drinking sometimes, and then the lights come on if you stay till that end, and it's like, ooh, Lord, that was you, or that was you. Like everything looks real good in the dark and under the, the colored lights, and you know what I'm trying to say, like those disco lights, so to speak. But when you turn on that fluorescent light, people start scattering like roaches. You even start second guessing yourself, like, let me see what I look like. Is my lipstick still on? Am I sweaty? Is my hair intact? Like that type of vibe. Well, this is somebody that the lights came on in the party by way of the judgment card. And now it's like, oh shoot, this is what I've been partying with all this time. Like nothing and no one is as it seemed when the drinks was flowing and the music was going. Now somebody's trying to push back on the judgment or push back on time of whatever this decision has been, maybe even against their own better judgment, or trying to run it back. But the the choices have already been made, that have enacted a certain chain of events that now it's time to be justified one way or another. And somebody's like, wait, hold up, no, I didn't mean that. I didn't want it to go that way. Now they want to keep it real. Probably really not, even with the Knight of Swords, because the King of Swords is still all the way back here. The Knight of Swords is just not wanting to be left behind. They may be even willing to finesse the truth a bit. Like I said, I didn't mean that. That's not what, I didn't have anything to do with that. I didn't know where I was at. I didn't know what I was partying with, who I was partying with, what they were a part of. I'm not affiliate. They want to denounce all association now and stand on their own to turn back this decision on what has been pretty obviously plain up until this point, with some different storyline. That's the Knight of Swords. They want to finesse the truth some type of way. Good luck finessing Gabriel, the divine messenger, the keeper of truth. Yeah, let me know how that works out. All right, let's see what else we got here. Yeah, but while it was at it, it was all good. Like it was great. Open bar situation with the Nine of Cups here. Completely fulfilled in the debauchery, loving it, as a matter of fact. Quite pleased with themselves. Like, this is somebody that got a private section in the bullshit. Like, they got their own table, bottle service, and it's open bar. It's like, damn, do you even really need your own table? It's open bar. Like, do you need bottle service too? This is somebody that flexed. That's what I'm hearing. Wow, I love how this is coming through. Yeah, this is somebody that was flexing even when they didn't have to. But what? For appearance purposes. To impress a certain caliber of folks. I don't know what you call them. Like, I almost said creatures. But to really, like, almost buy his way into a companionship or I don't know what that is. It's not truly companionship. You know the type. You know well, I'll be. And we all know when he's on the ones and twos. The hits just keep on coming, right? The author of the heartbreak, the confusion, the trauma, the toxicity, hits just kept on coming to keep you in the dark, you know, like keeping the party going. You know, this is now the presence of all types of debauchery. Y'all not just drinking. Y'all on E, y'all on Molly, y'all smoking weed in the club. Yeah, dropping roofies in the drinks. You know, like God forbid. I'm just saying all types of stuff right now, but on edibles, like the works of debauchery here with the devil card. But it feels so good, don't it? Oh gosh. In the moment, it does. It feels amazing. Euphoric. You feel completely numb to your senses in the most sensational way. Which is why you wouldn't want the party to end. This is someone that may have become addicted to that numbness, you know, and it became a habit. As I was saying before, your habits, your rituals, your routines. This is someone that veered more in that darker nature, not a balance of the two, because ain't nobody saying you can't party and bullshit. Sometimes. Sometimes you certainly can, but when it becomes every night, and you don't feel good just sitting at home watching TV, that's not satisfactory anymore. You got to be out. You got to be on the scene. You got to be in the who's who on the guest list. You got to have access to all the exclusive parties and clubs and premieres and openings and, you know, the listening party and the this and the that. And you can get into this studio and, you know, like, there's a great cost associated with needing to be validated in those spaces. It's one thing to just have, I can barely get it out because it really doesn't even make sense, but I'll say it anyway. It's one thing to just have easy access or natural access to certain spaces and places that are considered exclusive or, you know, whatever. I keep saying whatever because it's not really all that exclusive. It's just the illusion of it being something that you wouldn't want to miss out on. Like, invokes a certain spirit of FOMO if you're on the outside, just being your old natural, normal self, and you're not where the party's at, then you feel like you're missing out, or somehow that's a reflection on what you are not worthy or privileged to partake in. But that is the illusion itself, isn't it? You know, as I was going to say, it doesn't even make sense really for me to say that some people have natural access, because it's certainly by invitation only. And at some point in time, we may all have an invitation to that party one way or another, but it does require that you sacrifice the most supreme essence of yourself to continue to get invited, because eventually don't nobody want the buzzkill at the party, the one who ain't drinking, ain't drugging, ain't sexing. Forgot about that part. It's all the things, remember. Ain't sexing, ain't cussing, ain't, you know, plotting, ain't promoting, networking, you know, but not that networking or promoting is bad, but you know what I mean. It's like industry vibes is what I'm getting here. Like, everybody has some ulterior motive as to why they're there in the first place, which means that everybody has a price. And that's exactly the type of guests that this energy would want inside of its party. Somebody that can be bought with a certain price, even if it's just a matter of wanting to be numb to the pain, the trauma, the toxicity, the fear, the past experiences that have drawn you to this distraction in the first place. Forget about that. Just keep on partying. Even if it's just that, that's an even enough exchange for you to keep getting an invitation. But the minute you decide that you want to actually pursue spiritual fulfillment, real wish fulfillment, where you feel validated on the inside out by the accomplishments that you've already made, and you don't need anybody else to affirm your identity or your relevance or your accolades or anything of the sort. The minute you decide to change and commit to that, you're not really that much fun anymore. Not even to yourself, because that requires a certain level of awareness of, again, as I said, where you may be hurting and how you may need to fill that void so that you can overcome that gap between that low, just self, regular old self, and supreme. Yeah, this is interesting. What's next? Yeah, but this is like, and it's funny because today, and this may even be a standing definition of this card, but I had never really seen it like that. I was like, oh, that's somebody ignoring their intuition because I'm always like, yeah, you're refusing source, refusing self-love, self-care. All of that is still true, an invitation from the divine. But practically speaking, that's you ignoring your intuition, that nudge in your spirit that's saying, you know what, this, before the lights come on, mind you, this is still in the party, when you're feeling like, I don't feel well in here, I don't like the vibe, but you hang in there anyway because you got a mission. You have a mission to see through, or you don't want to be, again, you don't want to miss out on what? The party. 3 of Cups down here. I never have these two out at the same time to show this difference. And the fact that one is right here after the other is like chef's kiss, man. But here's the party. Here's you. This is now someone that probably more or less is in that struggle position where they know they don't feel great up in these places or doing these things or with these people anymore. Like there's a certain discomfort there, but they also feel uncomfortable not being there. It's like, this is the moment of truth here. Do I continue to submit myself to these spaces, or do I listen to what my emotional intelligence is telling me, and maybe sacrifice the access that I've revered so highly up until this point? Because this is like somebody looking at those 3 of Cups like, oh man, but if I'm not here, then I won't be able to talk to this one. This is where the opportunities are. This is where the movers and the shakers are. This is where shit gets done, blah, 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 blah. Or just wanting to be a part of a certain affiliation in a way that some people just want to feel included, and especially if there appears to be some value for it, then certainly that's a nagging conflict. But this is someone that either has had the opportunity to leave early before the lights came on, and they were so conflicted that either they stayed too long or they just refused to listen, or for whatever reason they found themselves on the outside of that inclusion now. Like they don't get the invitations anymore. Now, they're not invited to the places and the secret parties and the this and the that. Like they don't get the phone calls, they don't get the emails, whatever the case may be, they don't get it. And now they feel like stuck in limbo. And this is the opportunity, like instead of seeing like, well, damn, good thing I did, kind of, like almost seeing it as a gift to them to support what their intuition was telling them anyway. This is somebody that still fantasizes, maybe even agonizes and obsesses over wanting to gain access back into those circles again. They're not satisfied with source now at this point, trying to nourish them and love on them, and like, what is that? That's not going to get me seen, get me noticed, get me, clout, money, even though there's no pentacles on this board, but still, that's what that is. So either way, it's like icky. And it's a great depreciation from when everything was everything at the 9 to now the 4, which would be the 5. Yeah, somebody's like depressed. And it's like a double whammy, because they feel outcasted in some way, shape, or form, or even they feel like an outsider on the inside, even if they are still up in the mix. It's like they know they don't belong there. And now there's a certain level of that 5 of Cups of guilt and shame and depression and just the most dense energies you can really think of that are festering in their being, that they're either having to again recommit to numbing, or numbing is not just the word I want to use, like diluting or intoxicating themselves to avert the reality, is because it's like it's the trauma all over again, and probably even more intensified with each resistance to the intuition, because it doesn't go anywhere until you're ready to heal it. You couldn't drink it away, you couldn't sex it away, you couldn't drug it away, you couldn't achieve it away, there's no way to release it except for to heal it. So anything that presents itself to be, a supplement is an illusion, and it's fleeting. It doesn't last very long. It ultimately still keeps you in this position so that whatever it is you feel you need to do to avoid the feeling, you have to keep on doing, which there lies the spirit of addiction, which we know the devil also can represent. Or even to the people and places and things, whatever that may be, that reflect to you some different reality of other than the truth. And even while you're there, you don't really want to be there. So it's like you're having to take a pill on one end and a drink on the other end to cure what's ultimately all the same thing. You rejecting yourself. Yeah, and here's the Chariot card. Now, this is the point where you get to move forward and it's like one way or another, there is a forward motion. You could sit there obstinate to it as you please, but when the Judgment card presents itself, there's some call to action. One way or another, you're either going to move forward and accept that healing, or you're going to move forward in the continuance of the toxicity that you've submitted yourself to until ultimately you just expire. That's the only choice. But hopefully, of course, with the Chariot here, there's something more high vibrational at hand. But here it is with the 7 of Pentacles. That's the choice. Like, somebody has to decide, what's it worth to them to keep sowing into what they've been sowing into, or to take this pentacle to literally cut your losses, which I don't really like to say, or count your wins, because even one pentacle is more than none. And I said, ain't no pentacles on this board yet. This is somebody that's not really too satisfied with their lot if they are to surrender, to the truth finally. They're not really all that satisfied with what that pans out to be with the 7 of Pentacles. It's like, is that it? Like, you could be dead, sir. You could be with nothing to show for nothing but commissary, if you lucky, if you got anybody on the outside that even cares to look out for you, And this group definitely ain't. You could forget about that. This ain't the group that's going to be putting money on your books. Like, once you are no longer an asset, an opportunity, you become disposable in groups such as this. There is no need for you. So there would be no value in continuing to support your vitality in any way, shape, or form. Let's just call it what it is, if we will. You know? But yeah, so that, I feel like just going on a few more, let's just say. That's where somebody is. It's like they've been planting the same seed over and over and looking for a different result. But now it's like, okay, this is your harvest. This pentacle here, what you gonna do? The call to action, right there. Let's see. Here's the collaborative effort. And then here's the independence. Look at that here. Up under the devil card, though. Ugh. Oh, man. This feels like somebody that, at least at this point, decided to reinvest back into this child. They decided to reinvest back into, or they have an interest, an invested interest, I'll say, in staying connected in these circles, because there presents more of an opportunity for independence or prosperity to like multiply. Like they can't get it on their own, so they're bringing it over here into this collusion here with the Three of Pentacles. And it's not collaboration, it's collusion is how I'm, especially all up under this, it's collusion. To multiply it, that's the ideal, to multiply it. They want to be a kept woman, man or woman. That's what they want to be. They want to be Nine of Pentacles. Yeah. But they want the appearance of the kingpin, though. Get into it. Once again, there's a stark difference between how someone presents himself and who they truly are, if they even know at this point. Because remember, it's supposed to be the King of Swords. That's the real King of Swords. That's the real energy here, you know. Well, sort of, because he's not matured even in that regard, but that's the potential there. Maybe even was at some point in time, but that value has certainly depreciated within this invested interest here, and it seems like it's depreciating more by the card, because this is still the ambition to be the King of Pentacles by way of maybe even finessing women. How about it? This is like a single ladies card. So still, as I said, the collusion is still not just a matter of, well, let me bring my pentacle and then y'all pentacle and we put our pentacles together. There's still some corruption here with the Nine of Pentacles to siphon energy off of someone else that has plenty to share, as it appears. They didn't come to the table as a Nine of Pentacles. It was the Nine of Cups. This is what they aspire to be, so that they can give off the appearance of the King of Pentacles. Why? Because they want to be a part of this crowd. And that's their access in, to appear to have some high value, which is crazy, to ultimately be taken advantage for. Like, not even people purely liking you for you, but you being in the mix because of what you perceive to have to offer, knowing that people just want to like eat off of you like piranhas. But perhaps that's the idea as well, to be in those inner sanctums so that he can also be a leech. Like, you know. So he just wants something to show for at least the persona of of high value or prestige, I'll say, so that invitation can come rolling back in like, oh, well, so and so, what's up with him? Like, let's bring him back in. Let's, now he's the man again. Let's call him back in. Somebody is just dying to be affirmed in these circles, and it's going to be the thing that ultimately kills them if they, oh, look at that. I don't know if you saw that back here. Wheel of Fortune. Yep. It's going to be the thing. But if they don't get out of that darkness, I mean, there's already a reckoning. The judgment card is here. That's like I said, the lights are on. The lights are on in the club, honey. And everyone could be seen for exactly who they are. Facades aside. And the spirit don't miss nothing anyway. So you couldn't even fake it for spirit if you wanted to. It knows your signature above all. Like, you couldn't finesse spirit out of what is what destiny you have ultimately submitted yourself to, what you're in true alignment for based on how you've sown. That your fruit will speak for itself. So you can prop yourself up as the King of Pentacles to other people, to human eyes, and it be the perfect illusion or delusion. But that Wheel of Fortune, that karmic balance, that will tell all, and it will justify all fairly. So somebody, like I said, the end, it would have been great here. Would have been ambiguous. Like, well, will they, won't they? Will they take that pentacle and move on to, repent and find their way back to the light? Or will they continue on back into the cycle? And it looks like somebody chose to go backwards against the grain. But now, in this present moment, is the judgment. This is the reckoning. Once the lights come on, the horn is blown, then that's when the sentences are determined. When you decide, who am I going home with or not? Or do I need to spruce up my makeup or not? Or, oof, I ain't never coming back here or not. And in some regards, like, there may not be a second, a new opportunity to make that determination at this point. You might have to go with the flow of the night at this point in hopes that that wheel will keep turning and you'll live to party another night or day. Exactly. Two of Swords. Like, this was the crossroads. And now it is the reckoning. What's on the back? Yeah, between what? As I said in the very beginning, self and supreme. Bam. So someone still has a choice. I guess the choice will always be present until it is no more, or until you are no more. That will always be the crossroads moment that will determine whether you ascend beyond the fray or you continue on that hamster wheel or in that cycle of trauma. But this is the determining factor. It's never anything else. It's not who you hang out with, who you associate with, what shortcuts you take, what sacrifices you make, how much money you pay, how much money you make, what you accomplish. It's never any of that. It's always going to boil down to your devotion to your divine identity. Will you choose it or won't you? That's it. That's all. It's that simple. In essence and truth. All right. So anyway, the Wheel of Fortune is here nonetheless. And with the Moon card, I love that because this is the flushing out. It's like, get rid of anything that's not putting you on the path to this supreme choice here. Because fortune awaits. It's just a part of the destiny to be fulfilled. You just got to put yourself in a position, taking the steps to receive it, to step into it, to become it. The High Priestess is Supreme Source at her highest, masculine or feminine. And I love that we started there because that means somebody's have devoted themselves to that essence and have absolutely nothing to fear or worry about in that regard. Like all of this stuff could be going on, you know, like you ain't even at those parties and you don't want to be. You could care less about those invitations. You could care less about those acquaintances and friendships, those accomplishments in that regard. You are devoted to your own unique purpose in life, and you, as a result, will definitely receive the reward, the good fortune for your good faith with the Wheel of Fortune to end. All right. Thank you so very much for listening and watching. Have an amazing rest of your weekend. Certainly continue to guard your energy accordingly for this full moon. And definitely pamper yourself, you know, with self-love and self-care without apology if you have the opportunity to. And in that same regard, rest. All right. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.